Lots riding on this one. Hi, I'm Debbie. This time next week, Jamaicans will have a new government, campaigning on both sides at fever pitch. But beyond their base, are both parties getting across their message? And what about the debates?
Michael Abrams, medical practitioner, Gleaner columnist, you've been watching the debates. What comes to mind? What stuck?
Probably the last debate where the Prime Minister and the opposition leader went head to head.
Are you truly a Jamaican?
For me, probably it was Mark Golding just pulling out his birth certificate, like pulling out a rabbit out of a hat. I think that was unexpected.
Here is my birth certificate.
Debating is an art, really, you know. And you could, for example, he answered the questions in a timely fashion. He was concise. He didn't run over, didn't finish too quickly. He maintained his composure. There were times when each gentleman called out the other successfully. But I think overall he probably got the better of the Prime Minister.
Andrew Holness is being disingenuous and tricky.
The leader of the opposition is telling lies.
Who or what is the JLP's weakest link and the PNP's weakest link?
I think the JLP's weakest link is integrity, transparency and accountability. With the opposition, a lack of consistency and staying on message.
Two narratives on repeat. The PNP have a dismal track record and they're going to raise taxes. Then there's the Prime Minister's personal finances. And the third term is just going to be a free-for-all. Do people care about corruption if they get performance in return? Or are corruption and performance mutually exclusive?
I mean, anecdotally, many people seem to take it as a given that both sides are corrupt. For many people, it doesn't really matter. For some of us, it does, especially those of us who have been paying attention. There's been a chronological sequence of events that's a bit disturbing regarding our checks and balances when it comes to accountability and transparency.
Does this election campaign feel different from the last one? Is there more of a buzz about voting this time?
It's definitely different from the last one, I can tell you that. Because with the last election, the JLP won by a landslide. The PNP was in disarray. It's much closer now.
You're a medical practitioner. Are your patients sharing about politics during visits?
Well, my job affords me the opportunity to discuss, political matters with a wide cross-section of people. And what I've found is that many Jamaicans, many of my patients, are not interested in voting. Many of them have never voted. Many of them have no intention of voting. And I'm a strong advocate for voting, very. And many people will say the reason why they don't vote is because they genuinely do not see a difference. 6 or 1 half dozen of the other, no better herring, no better barrel. And they don't understand that every vote counts. And what I tell them is, listen man, when you don't vote, the people who don't have a clue are the ones who vote. Yeah, being an obstetrician and gynecologist, one of the major issues for me is the maternal mortality rate. Right now, our maternal mortality rate is higher than it was in the 90s. A pregnant woman today is more likely to die than in the 90s. Before COVID, it went all the way up to 160 odd. It's 133 now. A country's maternal mortality rate is one of the indicators of how robust the country's health sector is. So when you have a high maternal mortality rate, it doesn't look good for the health sector.
You had money in SSL and you were able to withdraw your money before it collapsed. In fact, I would say the only person that Usain Bolt has not been able to catch up with is you.
This thing with the debate, I noticed mention of SSL and the Prime Minister getting back his money. Apparently Usain Bolt hasn't gotten back his money. You think that's going to stick in some people's mind?
You get all of your stuff back, and many people are still hurting. We talk about Usain Bolt a lot, but there are other folks who were not as wealthy as him, who lost a lot of money.
FinSAC took out a lot of people back in the day. There are a lot of people who had expensive loans, but there are a lot of people who benefited from the collapse in the financial system at the time.
Apparently that has affected persons on both sides of the divide, because apparently Mark Golding and Peter Bunting did benefit, and there are allegations that Mr. Holness may have benefited from buying a house that was so-called FinSac. He denies it, but it is true that many people did suffer and many people did benefit.
You make it sound like politicians have a pretty bad track record in Jamaica.
Of course they do. I did not grow up in a politically tribal household, so I voted on both sides. It's a pattern. I vote for you, you win, and then I get upset. So I voted for Andrew Holness the last election. I make it definitely. I was impressed because he had promised us the impeachment bill, and he ran on this thing about integrity and accountability. But I must say I am disappointed.
So if you're prepared to tell me who you voted for last time, who are you voting for this time?
I'm very uncomfortable with the trajectory that the country is on now in terms of integrity. But at the same time, I can't say I'm fully confident that if the other party comes in, they will hold the reins of power responsibly. It's very difficult. It really is.